An embarrassment of riches today from the Vikings, top to bottom. They dismantle the Bengals 48-10. We got all the instant reaction coming up next, but first, let's meet the crew.
What's up? It's Sam X from Locked On Sports Minnesota, and this is the Isaiah Rodgers game.
Ron Johnson, former Gophers NFL wide receiver from the Ron Johnson Show, had a great game today. I got to talk to Jim Marshall's wife. I got to talk to Jake Reed. I mean, all the guys are there. And you know what? Kevin O'Connell was right. Max Brosmer is better than Brett Rippon.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Viking Squad Show immediately following Vikings Bengals, a dismantling, all the instant reaction you can handle the next 60 minutes. Isaiah Rodgers, is he going to Canton, guys? Record-setting day. How Carson Wentz and the offense looked in his first game starting. Biggest turning points, handed out some game balls as well. Before we get into all the action, make sure to like and subscribe. Keep up with all the action. So close to 10,000 subscribers. And after this, you got to go check out Luke Braun over on Locked On Vikings each and every day. All right, Ron, you're batting leadoff per usual. I'll give you the first crack. Last week, think about the contrast from last week. This team got embarrassed on their home court on a national stage versus the Falcons. This week, they flipped the script. They dismantled the Bengals. Give the Bengals, by the way, one of their worst losses in franchise history. Defense balled out. Wentz was good enough. Running game looked good. They find themselves now, though, tied for first place in the NFC North. Ron, what is the number one thing on your mind right now? Your biggest and best takeaway from what we just watched unfold?
Well, on the Vikings Game Day Live show today, we do a thing called Sink or Sail. And the questions, I thought, you know what? There's one question that I did not think I would lose on, which is Jamar Chase has less receiving yards than Justin Jefferson. That was the only one I got wrong. I had Jordan Mason on a better game than Chase Brown. I had the Vikings defense on a better game than the Bengals defense as far as sacks go. I just was like, you know what? Jamar Chase normally has good games. Justin Jefferson's been a little bit kind of reserved. And Justin Jefferson still was 5 for 75. That's a little reserved in Justin Jefferson world. Jamar Chase just got absolutely locked down. Like, the Vikings defense did a great job disguising. They kept Jake Browning. And for Jake Browning out there saying they should have never cut me. I know you guys saw that video. I think this is what Kevin O'Connell saw when they did, or not Kevin O'Connell, sorry, Mike Zimmer, when they decided to move on from Jake Browning. I think it was the Zimmer group. It wasn't the Kevin O'Connell crew that got rid of Jake Browning. But, you know, I think this is what Zimmer saw. Like, you know what? I don't think you can get it done. And so he didn't today. He had a great game last week. But Brian Flores got his butt kicked against the Falcons, and that might have been the best thing that ever happened, because that run game today, they were filling the lanes. They were. I mean, and we haven't said much about Dallas Turner, but man, is he having a good start to the season. Like, we were so concerned about that first round pick, and Dallas Turner's playing better than JJ McCarthy. Like, that first round pick actually looks a little bit better right now as far as Dallas Turner just being an absolute, like, demon out there on the field. But for Isaiah Rodgers, you know, the peanut punch, the interception, welcome back Harrison Smith on the tip drill, touchdown for a score. I mean, it was everything. And here's the cool thing about this. So, a little behind the scenes story, and I told her I wouldn't say everything exactly, but Jim Marshall's wife was at the game, and they honored Jim Marshall, former Vikings, Purple People Eater, one of the best ever to do it. And so I got a chance to talk to his wife, and her and I chatted for a while, and she's like, yeah, I knew you as a Minnesota boy from the Gophers and da-da-da, and I was like, hey, can I get you on my show? And she's like, yeah, I'm not really ready to talk yet. And I'm like, you know what? 100% respect you. And I'm like, so what did you say to the team? And so for those that don't know, Kevin O'Connell saw her and said, hey, do you ever want to speak to the team one day and just tell the players about Jim Marshall and what it meant to be a defensive player in purple? And she was like, sure, just let me know when. He was like, what about right now? Literally, she looked, she's like, wait, right, like, you want me to get up from my table, come back to where your players are and talk to your players right now? They were at a dinner. And he's like, yeah, could you do that? And so she gets up, nothing written down, no words. And I'm not going to say exactly what she said, but I promise you she had those players like goosebumps. I mean, you think about everything like Jim Marshall fought to the end. Jim Marshall was what Minnesota was about, and his wife was in attendance today. His granddaughter blew the horn today. His family was out there as honorary captains, and that defense did exactly what the Purple People Wheelers did, which is can completely confuse and destroy offenses, and that's what the Vikings did today. So shout out to the Minnesota Vikings defense for honoring Jim Marshall today, because that was a huge way. 115 alumni. I mean, I got a chance to talk to Bernard Berrien. I said Jake Reed, but they had Willie Howard was there. I mean, you got Tim Baylor. I mean, you can go. Ahmad Rashad was there. I mean, everybody was in town, so it was cool to kind of hear all the stories, but to see all these guys excited about what this Vikings defense was doing. And Carson Wentz did just enough. He did just enough. Carson Wentz did just enough to make us all say, I still want to see J.J. McCarthy. So it was a great day.
Yeah, I would agree, Ron. I think the defense is the story of this one. I think we went in, thinking that it's between Wentz and Browning. Well, Wentz, I thought after the opening drive, actually had some concerning stretches of play, and then the defense took the game over and made it a blowout by halftime, and then we had a preseason atmosphere in the second half. Isaiah Rodgers did something that no Minnesota Viking has ever done before, no NFL player has ever done before, and it was clearly contagious, right? How many times did you see guys pounding away, trying to punch that ball out? Somebody in the comments saying, it's not the peanut punch, it's the Rodgers robbery. It might be. It might be after that. That was fantastic work by Rodgers, setting the tone, the Vikings defense swarming around the ball. I don't know if I've seen a team as rattled as the Bengals when they were getting steamrolled in that third quarter. I mean, that was a team that had a lot of quit in them. As we welcome Luke Braun in, by the way. Luke Braun, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, that'll happen. I feel like these KOC Vikings teams have this tendency to like avalanche. Like it all kind of comes at once, and then you'll have these weird stats where like, well, for these 3 quarters they did whatever, but in this quarter they set a franchise record, and I feel like you had like a couple of those in this game. You had the big second quarter, Isaiah Rodgers just kind of deciding that this game is not going to be a game anymore, but they kind of kept doing it. There's a drive later, I think it was the last time they scored, where they just called vanilla zone. It was just mid-zone, like I think 3 out of the first 4 plays of that drive were just mid-zone left and mid-zone right, and they all went explosive. It's like, okay, well, Bengals just kind of packed this one in, huh?
Ron, let me ask you this, just going back to kind of the 5D view, the overarching difference from last week to now, just the polar opposite performance from the entire team, top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams. It's hard to sit here and say in the NFL that 1 or 2 guys make that much of a difference, but the return of Darisaw, Van Ginkel, and obviously Harrison Smith, who really helped light the fire today with that tip ball that Rodgers took to the house, clearly getting some of their studs back turns this team into a different animal.
Getting Christian Darisaw back was huge. I mean, if you watch Carson Wentz in the pocket, I mean, he could have made a sandwich back there. He could have asked for no tomatoes on his hamburger. I mean, he had tons of time back there to just kind of like relax. And here's the thing, and this is why I say that, and I'm not joking, it's not tongue-in-cheek. The reason why I say I would love to see J.J. McCarthy with Christian Darisaw was because of what we saw. There was no pressure from the backside. His backside was completely protected. When J.J. McCarthy can see what's coming at him, which Carson Wentz could see what was coming at him, he was able to duck. But Carson Wentz, once he ducked, he doesn't have escapability anymore. He's not the Carson Wentz that was an RPO king and that would kill it. Now, I will say, Carson Wentz's arm slot today on that first RPO KOC called, it looked like 2018 Wentz, like it was nice. He kind of got right under the guy, kind of, for those not watching on YouTube, you're missing it. I'm in a full 3-piece suit and I just hit the Carson Wentz sidearm. But for him to do the RPO and people are like, oh, that was an RPO. Watch the offensive line. It's 100% RPO. Nobody went beyond a yard and they thought they were going to run the ball to the left. Carson Wentz pulled it because the DN came and then he slung it out there to Jalen Naylor on a flat route. So, KOC was in his bag a little bit today early on. I hope he still runs some of those plays for J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy has not had a chance to throw a slant yet to Justin Jefferson. Carson Wentz has. J.J. McCarthy has not had a chance to throw a quick flat route to Jalen Naylor. He did. I mean, J.J. McCarthy deserves to have that type of offensive line. And they were without their center as well, and they still did pretty well in the run game. But Jordan Mason just put Aaron Jones on a question mark. Like how do you move on and take him away from RB1? Yeah, I mean, and maybe Aaron Jones is built more for 8 to 9 carries right now in his career. Like Jordan Mason looks like a bell cow, and I think I said it before. I might have said it with Sam. I was like, he needs like 20 carries. I don't know how many he got because I haven't had a chance to look finally at the final numbers.
16.
Oh wow! If he had got 20, he would have had 170 yards. Like, but he deserves 20 carries because of what you see. He falls forward. But to answer your question, Luke, I think getting Christian Darrisaw back, getting Harrison Smith back. If you guys, I fell in love a little bit this week with the Coffee House blitz. Ben Lieber on the pregame show, he told me it was the Hollywood for what they called it back in the day. But just the nonchalant, I'm not coming. Maybe I'm coming. You don't really know what I'm gonna do. Fake at the line. I'm gonna walk away like, I'm just gonna have a cup of coffee, and then I still come. The Vikings and Harrison Smith, just the ways they confused the quarterback was awesome to see. And that's honestly, that's what we were missing with Cam Bynum. I thought Cam Bynum was what they were missing. They were just missing Harrison Smith.
Yeah, 2 of 3 games this year, I think you would say that the defensive line was all over the quarterback. I mean, Williams was running for his life a lot of the time. And it didn't really get to Penix much last week because they ran the ball so well. And then today, I mean, the sack count was let's see, 4 total, probably could have been 8. I mean, they were super close on a number of occasions. Defensive line set the tone. They lose Hargrave, and in comes Levi Drake Rodriguez making plays, Jalen Redmond making plays, super physical front 7, great play on the back end, in run support and in pass support, obviously. Totally neutralized Jamar Chase. This was a really convincing defensive performance, and it tilts the pendulum back now, right? We were nervous. We said, is this team soft? Can they not defend the run after the Falcons game? Now through 3 weeks, I still think we've seen a lot more good than bad from this defense. And that's the kind of performance defensively I think maybe feels a little more, not the defensive touchdowns, but there's some sustainability to it, right? And it's the offense's best friend. It's Carson Wentz's best friend. But I think we learned a little more about the defense today than we did the offense.
Well, and Luke, I think the biggest question mark we had going into this season was the secondary. Obviously, still some question marks back there, but how just encouraged are you? Obviously, you ain't going to get this kind of record-setting game from Isaiah Rodgers, but he was kind of the big wild card. Like, we were low-key excited about him, but we just didn't know a lot about him, really, in this full-time quarterback 2 role. So how encouraged are you now that with Harrison Smith, this secondary can start to consistently show up week in and week out in this Flores defense?
Yeah, they must have heard what I was saying to Arif, because my goodness, everything that I criticized after the Atlanta game comes back full circle the other way. I think dominating in the trenches had more of an impact in this one, but like you saw it on the broadcast a little bit, and I have a feeling that when we all flip on the all 22, we're going to see like clamps on the best wide receiver duo in the league, at least arguably. Maybe you think it's Jefferson and Addison, but like that was the biggest threat coming into this game, was like, how are they going to put together a plan to slow down these 2 wide receivers and make it so that these guys can't carry their backup quarterback. And I think it's really an all 11 effort. I think a lot of it was those guys could not get the ball because Jake Browning was running for his life every single play. And I just want to tip my cap to like Jalen Redmond. And of course, Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner all over the field. Levi Drake Rodriguez with a monster class. Like those guys up front make the secondary's job easier. And it's one thing when it can hide a secondary that isn't playing well, but then you get guys that are doing playmaking that can actually go be opportunistic, and suddenly Isaiah Rodgers is popping off your TV screen.
Ron, let me ask you this. Biggest turning point from today. I suppose it's easy to just look at that first Isaiah Rodgers pick 6. That makes it 14-0, but obviously in the NFL, any given Sunday, 14-0 lead in the first quarter isn't a lot. Is there a specific drive, specific play that you're going to go back tomorrow morning and circle and say this was the biggest turning point from today?
Ooh, I'd say the turning point from today, in my opinion, would have been, it's got to be the Isaiah Rodgers pick 6. Okay. Like I think a lot of the team felt like at that moment, like, okay, we could do this. The 62-yard field goal was more just like here, little brother, let me show you what I'm gonna do to you at the end of the half. That felt extremely petty. But I love it. I love petty KOC. Like that was really just showing, let me show you how to put my foot in your throat and smother you at the last minute. That was perfect. So I'd say the interception was one big one, but then the one that kind of like, hey, okay, this is all over with, was the was that 62-yard field goal. That was like the nail in the coffin. You could see the Bengals players walking into the locker room like they were just dejected. Like I don't know if the TV copy showed, but they literally like we were all looking like, man, these guys don't even like want to come back out at halftime. It felt like.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, Ron, but
on
the halftime interview after like going into the locker room, the broadcast interviewed Zach Taylor, and he was like, "Well, we got a lot of pride to play for." Like the white flag had been waved.
Yeah.
They don't. I wish they would show us some of that stuff. Like we can't hear what they're saying because technically, like I don't know, there's some kind of stupid rule about some stuff. So no, I didn't see that, but I just was watching you watch the players' body language, you look for all kinds of little things. And I don't know, the Bengals just look done. Like even on the second Isaiah Rodgers touchdown, if you watch their sideline, half the guys like just kind of do the like, like what are we doing right now? Like it was just like what is going on? And even I think one of the guys was like one of the coaches was signaling to Zach Taylor to say something like was the tight because I don't think they realized he had took the ball. Like I don't think they understood how Isaiah Rodgers got the ball.
It was sneaky.
Yeah, we were all thinking it was on the hit, and so I think first they all thought it was on the hit too. So you could see them saying like, "No, he was down," and so Isaiah Rodgers and the refs are looking at each other, and they're like, "Wait, that ball came out way before that. Like that is not even close to being down. Like he got it way before that. It was super sneaky. It was super quick." And like Isaiah Rodgers had hopped up before anybody even knew. Like, and that's why the tight end's hit looked so bad. We were trying to figure out why the hit looked so bad. He was like forgetting about the play. He was like, "Oh shoot, the ball's gone," and then he just gets absolutely nailed. We thought there was gonna be a flag on that hit, but then like it's like, well, that's kind of just like who expected the guy to turn that way looking for the ball? I think because the refs talked about that too. We thought that was gonna be one of those like helmet to helmet or helmet to like throat hits. But I think they realized, like, look, let it go. Like that's just football.
Yeah,
Sam,
I thought that was the turning point right there, Ron. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that 17-3 total dominance by the Vikings, but the Bengals are at the Minnesota 36. They're going in before halftime. They've got a chance to double dip. They've got a chance to score, get the ball back, pull within one possession. And the Vikings, from that point on, they score 17 points in the final minute and change of the second quarter. Like it could have been a football game. And the Vikings just zapped any opportunity that Cincinnati had so quickly that like you understand why they were shell shocked going into the locker room.
What was there any Isaiah Rodgers prop bets on FanDuel? Like, did anybody have him for two scores?
That's a deep cut question right there.
I
don't know.
That's a deep one.
I don't know.
Or the Vikings defense even. Like I wonder what the Vikings defensive scores.
Defensive
touchdowns. Yeah.
That's got to be about, I don't know, plus 2,000, 3,000.
And here's the crazy thing. I think people took it because if you saw Jake Browning the week before, I think people were like, look, this dude threw 3 interceptions. So let's just maybe bet on a couple interceptions.
The money had tilted toward the Bengals +3 over the week, like pretty hard.
Right at the end,
Vegas did pretty good.
Plenty more to get into. Game MVP. Let's hand out some game balls here. Whose stock is pointed up? What we loved, what we hated. That's all coming up though right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. For me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports. You watch your favorite players, and it's so simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats. You watch the winnings roll in. Football season is back. Anytime touchdowns, receptions, tackles, sacks, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. We got a Monday night thriller tomorrow, Lions, Ravens. Plus, don't forget, Prize Picks now offers Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Right now, download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's win or lose on any $5 lineup. You're getting $50 instantly with promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, game MVP, I think we know where that's going, but some more flowers, some more love. I know we shouted out Jalen Redmond. I thought he had a fantastic game back there, and he's kind of shown that he's kind of had his stock shooting high leading up to the year. It's just nice to see him finally get some more playing time. Shout him out. Who else would you like to give some flowers or love to today?
Yeah, how about Jordan Mason when he gets volume? Like we saw this last year with San Francisco, arguably was better when he got more carries. And he showed it today. He was the bell cow. 16 carries, a tight 116, scored touchdowns running the ball in the red zone. That was a foreign concept last year, and I think they just took care of it on first down in both cases. I think they just gave it to Mason from the 4 or 5 yard line, plowed his way in. That's going to be a pretty useful tool when you're not leading, 34-3, when you actually need to score TDs in the red zone. That's a nice little one to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, I feel like the list is kind of the whole team when you win by 38. Right. But there's a couple of, I think, unsung heroes to this one. I think Donovan Jackson, to my live eye, had a really nice game. He went out, had a bloody nose, did come back to the game. He should be fine. But I think he had a really nice one. I think both the guards had really nice ones. When those zone runs just hit the B gap every single time, that's plan A. That's the first place that the runner wants to look. It's kind of the equivalent of like the quarterback gets to throw to his first read every single time, and you go, okay, they can't cover anything because he gets exactly what he wants every time. He never has to go to plan B. That's kind of how this run game felt. So Darisaw, Jackson, and then on the other side, Fries and O'Neal running in those B gaps between that tackle and guard was dominant. I mean, that was an absolute shellacking, and Trey Hendrickson nowhere to be found.
Ron, can I throw out, when you hear the name, you go, well, duh, yeah, that guy's really good. But, you're going to look in the box score tomorrow morning and see Jonathan Grenard, 3 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, which is great. But the impact he has on all the guys that we've already showered and put in the spotlight, the Drake Rodriguez's, the Redmonds, Van Ginkel, Van Ginkel was there to clean up his first sack. Van Ginkel, 2 sacks today. How good? I mean, they talk about on the broadcast, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. If he's not a household name yet, Jonathan Grenard is definitely on his way.
He really should. If he's not a household name to you, you just aren't paying attention.
You don't watch football. Yeah, he's a household name.
This dude's been a top 10 edge since last year.
When you make the NFL top 100, you're a household name. Like, again, unless you're a casual that doesn't really pay attention to, like, the guys that everybody gets commercials about. Like Jonathan Grenard. So my flowers are going to go to Grenard, Van Ginkel, and Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is the one I really want to give him to, though. He had a sneaky stop on a run play. So he kind of looped and he kept filling the lane. It ended up helping out on the tackle in the backfield. That was kind of like one of those Brian Flores, hey, make sure we're filling all the gaps. Even if you're supposed to loop and you feel like you're not going to play, just keep pursuing, because if it cuts back, you're the guy. And that's what happened. The running back kind of stuttered, and he cut back right to Dallas Turner, and Dallas Turner kind of held him up. It was a double. I think they both got credit for a half tackle, but it's a behind-the-line tackle, and that's the key. Is like that run game never really got going. Chase Brown had a decent game before that, and so, again, I just assumed that Chase Brown would probably get a little bit more trying to establish a run when you think about what happened the week before with the Falcons. I feel like Zach Taylor, when I watched that film, and said, hey, man, we could run on this team. But what you notice this week is Brian Flores did not stay in a standard 3-4 when it looks like it could be a run situation. He ran like a weird kind of 5-2 where the both ends were up, both backers were kind of up closer. And then I think it was either Metellus or Harrison Smith would kind of be near the box. He was trying to really bait Jake Browning into checking out of it and wanting to throw something quick. And so he stuck with the run, though, and that's what's perfect. I think Joe Burrow probably would have done some different things to that defensive looks, but Jake Browning doesn't have full go of that offense. And so, and again, if you go back and watch that Jags game, we broke down 5 plays, me and Pete Burchage of the Jags game. You can check it out on Vikings.com. You can also, I'm going to post a little bit of it in a little bit today. But Jake Browning, when it goes bad, it goes bad. Like it's like drinking milk, and the expiration date is bad, and you still just drink it, hoping your stomach doesn't go bad.
Has that happened to you?
It's never happened to me.
Speaking from experience, or what?
I've heard some college stories about football players and athletes that do stupid stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
hey, trying to make weight, maybe? Drink a little bad milk?
No, just money. I bet you won't drink this for $10. And then he takes a big gulp of it, swallows, and then like 2 hours later, it's like, oh, why did I do that? Like, that's what Jake Browning does, because if you watch some of those throws, like that one he shoveled off to his right, he got rid of it instead of taking a sack or a safety. That was almost a pick six. Yeah. Like, if it was a little bit higher, that's a pick six. So that's the things that Jake Browning does that you're just like, that's not it. But, yeah, I got to give it to Dallas Turner. I love what Dallas Turner did today. He looked fast, when he got through. So that whole defense, though, and this is the best thing that could have ever happened, to jumping on a plane on a Thursday night or Friday night, I think. Thursday or Friday night.
Thursday, they said on the broadcast, yeah.
Thursday night, heading overseas, like what better feeling is it to go through a week like this, like feeling confident, feeling good about the defense? They're playing the Browns first, right? Or is it the Steelers first?
Steelers first.
Steelers
I did
first
screw
in
that up in
Ireland.
the YouTube short I just made. So
So
all right.
Steelers first in Ireland. And, again, Steelers are good, but here comes another old quarterback that can't run as much anymore. So I think Flores is going to have something for him.
I got one more. Hand out some flowers here. Xavier Scott. 9 touches, 50 yards. We saw the juice. We saw the burst. Preseason's a different animal, though, but we saw it there. He flashed. And to carry that over into a real live NFL game that actually matters, that's a night to be able to lose Ty Chandler, Aaron Jones, and still without CJ Ham, to have Mason and now this Xavier Scott just to give him a breather. I liked what I saw from him for sure today.
And he had a big run called back as well.
Yes.
Could have had a nicer stat line. Did he catch the ball from Jefferson on the Jefferson pass back?
Yep.
On
the throwback.
One catch, 20
he
yards
also
on that.
Caught that last 4th and 5 to end the game, which I found deeply disrespectful.
It's got it for one catch.
4th and 5, and they go for it to get the.
Was there a penalty on the Jefferson pass? I think there might have been a penalty.
It was 2 penalties. It was procedural lineup, and then there was one other one too.
Yeah, Vikings had some concerning stuff pre-snap, but I did want to toss out Ivan Pace, huge game, 3 quarterback hits, 12 tackles, awesome. And in Blake Cashman's absence, you need that. And then secondly, back to the Grenard conversation, one of my favorite images was Jonathan Grenard, the lead blocker down the sideline.
That was awesome.
Rodgers on the first pick, 6 that went the distance. Really, really cool. I paused it and I said, wait, that's Grenard. Look at Grenard. And he was just completely blocking out a guy. Really, really cool. I think we could probably do this segment again, Luke, with another dozen guys because it was that kind of day.
Mm-hmm. I do want to apologize, though, to the Minnesota Vikings defense. We did a segment called Panic or Patience, and it was about turnovers. And me and Ben Lee were both panicked about the lack of interceptions. And I made a comment about Cam Bynum having 3 for the Colts, and I'm like, it'd be nice to have them. Hey, I apologize. But I'm glad those guys woke up because that was the one thing that I think, again, I go back to Harrison Smith. I think we forgot how good he really is. And if you have heard, I don't know if the pregame shows Harrison Smith being introduced pregame, it was like he's back. I can't believe he's back. And so that was one of the coolest things about Harrison Smith. The crowd even was excited to have him back, and so for him to come back from whatever illness he was, dealing with, that was cool to see too. So I gotta, look at that. Like those interceptions were huge, and just the turnovers. The interceptions were huge.
Yeah, well,
and that's
said,
gonna be
Ron.
my last one before I get out of here. I got to go to
Ron's got
the
to bounce.
Vikings fan line. But here I'll leave you guys with this though too. When you think about Max Brosmer, he has a better passer rating today than Jake Browning. That's all I got to say.
All you got to say.
Mic drop.
That's it.
Yeah.
Easy game, man. Easy game to figure out.
I don't know if you guys
That's all
talked about it before I got here, but I feel like the story of this one is this is what can a big difference is one team's backup QB fell apart and the other one just kind of slowly coasted and did nothing. We love slowly coast, do nothing, just kind of deliver what's there. We're not throwing go balls. We're not throwing big, deep posts. We're not chasing explosives. This is exactly what I wanted the KOC offense to kind of realize it could do, which is just run your regular stuff and let your playmakers do stuff down the field. Just get Justin Jefferson on a dig 10 yards down the field. It's okay. We don't need to constantly hunt 65-yard touchdowns. And I feel like whether it's Wentz or McCarthy, that's a good change. So what I'm hoping is this can be a little bit of a realigning thing. And when McCarthy's back in the lineup, you go, okay, we've got momentum doing this. We're doing this now. And hopefully you can get a little bit more of a functional offense. But on the other side, Browning falls apart and you give up a bunch of turnovers and you get blown out. Can't have that.
If the third quarter hadn't gone as well as it did, I think there'd probably be some more concern about how it went in this game for Wentz because the script looked good, to his credit. We hadn't seen a script executed well on the opening drive. That looked good, very easy. Hot knife through butter, touchdown to Oliver. Then there were 3 out of 4 3-and-outs with some more third down indecision. There was bad stuff happening at pre-snap again, and I don't know if that's Juergens. I don't know if it was Wentz, cadence problems, bad stuff happening before the snap. And it's, at that point, 17-3 again. you're a little concerned. This offense is stalling. The defense is doing its thing. And then the defense made it a laugher. But then to come out in the third quarter and actually execute 2 really balanced drives where Wentz actually did throw the ball and completed some passes and got it downfield a little bit. Like there was some good stuff there to make it 48-3. That leaves you feeling better going into Ireland. And maybe I'll tease this for a later segment. Adam Thielen washed? Can the guy get separation?
Man, can he catch a ball? Like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
But hey, it might be a totally moot point because Addison is back next week. I don't know how much you get Adam Thielen. And if he is washed, then let him take 5 reps and be fresh legs for as long as you get him. That's fine because Naylor's still really good.
I was going to say another huge factor into this is how good Jalen Naylor has looked all of a sudden too, which was the big concern. It was the hand, obviously.
Yeah,
he was hurt.
Is he going to lose his job to Ty Felton?
Can he be a wide receiver too? Let's bring in some help. Let's bring in Adam Thielen.
Can I throw a game ball to Ty Felton, by the way, in special teams? Because, oh my God, every single time, whether we were punting or they were, Ty Felton was making a play. Oh my Lord, that dude is a demon on special teams.
He's the new Najee. We got a new Najee?
Yeah, we got a new Najee. Had to spend a 3rd round pick on him, but that's what a guy like that's worth, I guess.
Before we go to break, let me ask you this. It's so, again, I just can't get over the polar opposite from the Falcons game. Nothing went right. Everything went wrong to this game. Polar opposite. Is this team, by and large, the 5D view, right? Is this team closer to what we saw last week or this week?
It's definitely in the middle. I don't think you can look at either of these unless you have an agenda and be like, that's really the Vikings. It's their week-to-week proposition. That's what it is, right? You got this and the last game in you. I now can never trust you going into a game to be your best self.
Man. Jekyll and Hyde.
I don't know what we're going to see against the Steelers. It could be a disaster. It could be another blowout. But consistency is the thing. It's the same thing like looking over. I know we'll do this later in the show, but like looking over at the Packers. Jordan Love can have a day where he just absolutely rips the Commanders apart.
The NFL,
or he can have a day where he throws a backbreaking interception. Ultimately, that leads to the sequence that costs his team the game. You need to be like, especially in the postseason when you have to win 4 in a row to win the Super Bowl, that kind of thing matters. You don't get to have a bad day.
Yeah. Mason's question in the chat, did they just need a couple games to sort stuff out? Yes. And still sorting, I think, on offense. Sure. I think we
talked about how slow the offense was going to start, no matter what.
And it's still, like, even today was far from a clean operation. Turnover free, that's nice. Too many sacks, too many penalties. I have a lot more belief in the sustainability of this defense. We debated this all week, and I still don't know where we landed. I thought the defense was pretty good against the Falcons. I thought the run defense was obviously bad late, but you gave up 15 points for 3.5 quarters. There was still some good stuff being shown. I liked a lot of what they showed against the Bears as well. I think that this defense is well above average. The offense, we've had 2 different quarterbacks already, offensive line injuries. It's still a work in progress. Darisaw back, Addison back next week, coming together. I think there's a lot of upside still left to attain.
Offensive success pie chart. You talked about Braun. You talked about KOC getting into some more comfortable, easy rhythm stuff on offense. The play calling was a lot better. The running game with Jordan Mason finally looking like what they hoped it would when they brought him in and improved that offensive line. And Christian Darisaw, I feel like you got to throw in Christian Darisaw. Not often you can throw in a left tackle like that, but he truly, as we saw today, makes that big of a difference when you're handing out the pie chart percentages. Sam, you kind of rank those 3 and any other 4, 5, 6 too, if you got them.
Yeah. Give me the 3 again. We got Darisaw.
Coming back for sure. KOC's just play calling for Carson Wentz. Just the way the offense looked different when Wentz dropped back. And then Jordan Mason in the running game. Finally having a running game for your quarterback to sustain some drives.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with running game, probably the bigger piece of that pie chart. Some of that was Darisaw, but I think more credit goes to just the offensive line as a whole. It was cool that the first play of the game was a run to the left with Darisaw.
Did you see the seal block too by Darisaw?
The whole half of the field was open. Yeah, and then the Bengals had to commit like 2 penalties just to try to get back in the play. The running game I thought was, that makes everything better, right? You had a lot of third and shorts. You had a lot of chain moving without even needing to drop Carson Wentz back. You're able to score in the red zone. It was an easy approach on offense. When they had to drop back, that's when bad things happened. When they were running the ball, that's when all the positive momentum was occurring. So that'd be the biggest piece of the chart. I give Darrisaw the second piece. I think that just having him next to Jackson and not have Jackson sandwiched between Juergens and School, that's just a bad combination. It's much easier to withstand having a weak link in Juergens when you have your left tackle in place. So I would rank it run game, Darrisaw, and then KOC doing his thing.
All right, lots more to get into, including how about the defensive success pie chart? We'll get into that, what we loved, what we hated. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Every game, there's always those key moments that do more than just put points on the board. They move the crowd, they move the culture, they move the game forward. Today's moving moment had to be Isaiah Rodgers. Not just one turnover, not just one defensive touchdowns, but two. So remember, when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to Mazda vehicles. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, we did the offensive success pie chart. Let's just wrap up and do the defense as well. I feel like, again, Isaiah Rodgers is just kind of the easy one, but the front seven, man, getting Van Ginkel back, obviously Harrison Smith coming back as well. Luke, kick us off on that. Kind of just rank your top three successes, I guess, as far as ranking this, the great day Brian Flores and his defense had versus the Bengals.
Yeah, the hot take. I think I'm going to put the D-line first. And I think that Rodgers was the beneficiary of a lot of that. I mean, that was a tipped the first was a tipped interception, and then the scoop and score was all him. That was one of the crazier plays I've ever seen. It reminded me of Cam Dantzler stripping and ending the game a couple years ago against the Bears, where you just decide, nope, this is my game now. Awesome stuff, but I'm going to give it to the D-line because the D-line did it wire to wire. There was a stat in the middle of the game, I don't know how it ended up, but that the Vikings had an 82% pass rush win rate. That's not my favorite stat, pass rush win rate, but like sometimes the blowout is so bad that every stat's going to be right, and that's like just an obscene figure.
That's
they so many unblockable guys. Jalen Redmond unblockable, Levi Drake Rodriguez unblockable. Not to mention Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, Grenard. You had
is it like 20-25% good? 80? That seems like out of this
I think like 40 you start to get to like we can't have an offense. I mean, there was somebody every single play.
Yeah.
Browning could not just sit there and dial up the offense and just kind of execute cleanly the way that you really wish that he could. You had to start going to like tunnel screens and throw out to the flat and stuff and turn into this like hyper conservative thing. And anytime you tried to push the ball, so many bad things happened. And it's just because of all of that pressure. We were on the wrong end of it last week, right? When you have that much pressure, the offense just kind of can't happen. And then Isaiah Rodgers is an obvious 2 for me. And I think we'll probably find a little more that we like in coverage, but it's also hard. Like I could see the D-line all day. I can't see what's going on with the secondary. So I'm sure some really, really cool stuff was going on the back end too, to put a cap on Jamar Chase and T Higgins. But to me, it's just, it just feels like what happened up front made the rest of the game. Like that was just the game. Nothing else. There's nothing you can do about it if you're the Bengals, if you can't block.
I've got a stat about the rush defense in this game. So they allowed the Bengals 2.5 yards per carry. Chase Brown, though, in particular, 10 attempts for 3 yards.
Yeah, that's a Toby Gerhart stat right there.
You need one, he'll get you 0.3. That was his average today. And I ran a stat head search. Like having a rushing average that bad with 10 or more carries, it's only happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times since the turn of the century. So that's how good the rush defense was in this game. Put Jake Browning in impossible positions that he wasn't going to work his way out of. And 12 of those were on the dumbest 12 yards you'll ever see on a 3rd and 12 white flag being waved. And P. Ryan goes and gets the first down and delays the game 10 minutes because they couldn't get the virtual measurement right.
Did they even measure it? Because that took forever for them to even just spot it, and then the challenge,
and then the challenge, about a 9-minute delay there. Yeah,
that was
great
horrible
technology.
operationally.
Great technology. Yeah.
I've seen some people, not just after today's game, but going back after the Falcons game, even game 1 after the fourth quarter comeback, just talking about the slow start in general for this team. And again, we talked about it all summer long, like with Addison out, Darrisaw out, et cetera, Thielen coming in late. That the offense was probably going to start slow. But in general, it felt like the team has started slow up until today. I've seen some people pointed out the lack of preseason reps. Now, I wasn't concerned at the time, but do you guys – it just feels like those joint scrimmages is really the preseason for a lot of NFL teams. But did you guys feel like and easy to say in hindsight, right, after the slow start, those 2 weeks, but did you guys feel like we would have been more they would have benefited, I guess, more from more reps in the preseason? Because at the time I didn't, but then looking back after the slow start, it's like, well, I guess maybe, but easy to say.
I'm going to pull out a snap count real quick, and because I have a point to make about this, but I need time.
Yeah, you can. I'll try to tap dance for you. I think there is something to it operationally. Not having more time on task with your brand new offensive line. Wholesale changes. You didn't have Darrisaw for 2 weeks, so therefore you had 80% new bodies on the offensive line. That's a lot of new stuff with a new quarterback, young quarterback. I think that there's some validity to that 100%. And by contrast, the guys that did get snaps in the preseason, they look pretty good. Like they look more ready to some extent. Not player for player. I mean, you're still getting a lot out of Grenard, getting a lot out of Van Ginkel, but I think you've seen probably a readiness from a lot of the UDFAs, right, who have had some really big impacts already that did get a lot of preseason reps. Did I stall enough there, Bron, for you? Do you have the numbers yet? Because
almost
this is year 4 of KOC not really playing starters in the preseason. Mixed results. 22. They come out of the gate and they win a bunch of games. Now, they don't always look great doing it. They win a bunch of games. 23, sloppy. Dropping the ball right and left, like record number of fumbles. 24, Darnold comes out guns blazing. I mean, they couldn't have looked better last year. And last year, I know KOC put a little more thought into the preseason. I think he played the guys a little bit more, but not much. So I think it's just going to be a mixed bag year to year. And this seemed to be a group that might have benefited more from that, particularly on the offensive side of the ball with that new offensive line.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at snap counts here for like the Bengals, who got a lot of credit. We talked about this a ton with Tyler Rowland on Locked On NFL. Got a ton of credit for using the preseason and getting off to that hot 2-0 start. Obviously, they fell apart here, but they actually won a couple games and stopped being 0-2 every year like the Bengals were. Their starters got about 20-25 preseason reps, offense or defense. The Vikings starters got 10 to 15. So we are talking about 10 reps. That is the difference here between using the preseason and not using the preseason. That is a terrible excuse for what happened in Atlanta and what happened to start in Chicago. I am sorry. I am not buying that 10 reps is the difference. This is just because you didn't see it on TV, everybody. They did plenty to prepare, and they did a bad job of that because they started slow on offense, but putting them in for 10 more reps in the preseason wasn't going to fix that. If it were, then the Vikings should have been better by the second quarter of the Bears game. They got their 10 reps then, right? The difference between 10 and 15 reps is nothing. Everybody shut up about it.
I think the more exaggerated statement would be if teams did it like they did in 2000 and played 3 quarters and had a full dress rehearsal like that,
which nobody has done.
No one will do that. I think it's probably done. It will never be done again. And if a team did decide to do that and you played the Russian roulette and took the risk of losing a guy in that scenario, that might benefit them. Like, I think that's legitimate. But what we're talking about, nitpicking, like trying to squeeze another 2 drives out of the starting group, probably isn't going to move the needle.
I have an interesting breaking news update here. Watching Red Zone. I think CeeDee Lamb might have just pulled a hammy.
Ooh. I did see Lamb got hurt. I did see that. It's been
just
a crazy day.
Non-contact, limp off.
Speaking of injuries, Javon Hargrave went out. Don't know any type of status. Don't even know what the injury was. I think a chest. I think they said a chest.
Chest contusion, and I believe They said, according to Ben Gessling, he could have come back if needed.
Oh, okay. So that's good. No other injuries to note from today's?
No. They did shut down Christian Darrisaw for a decent amount of the back half there. O'Connell did specify what we kind of think, which is, because of the score, we decided not to push it.
Boy,
Donovan Jackson nosebleed returned.
On the Rock.
Yeah, nosebleed returned. He was fine, and he finished the game. CD is back in there. Thanks, Not Good Gamer. I'm late.
One last game ball. Will Reichard breaks the franchise record, 62 yards. That was good from 70.
He's got a nice draw on it, kind of like your drive, Luke. You know,
I appreciate that. That's what I think
that
about.
Little hook,
in my
bringing it
backswing.
Inside the post. Yeah.
That was an insane kick.
That was insane.
Franchise record
bulleted.
And had room to spare. That was nuts.
It was good.
I think now Reichard holds like the top 5 or 6 longest kicks in franchise history. There's like the one Greg Joseph 61-yarder, and it's just a bunch of Reichard from 60-ish.
58 against Houston,
still feels
59
like
against the Bears.
Yeah, the field goal percentage, though, is still up there. You get some of these boomers, Joey Sly up there. Okay, he can hit a 68-yarder here and there, but like the percentage for him is still very rock solid, which is super encouraging. We talked about so many winners. Last one before we go to the final segment. So many winners. Is there one loser you can find here? What one guy that had a day to forget just in general? Dude who's not going to love waking up, driving a TCO at 7 a.m. and flipping on the tape?
Aaron Jones?
Oh,
can't watch Jordan Mason have a day like that and think a little bit about, is my snap count going to be the same? Am I still the starter when I come back from this hammy?
Yeah.
How many penalties do you think the Vikings had? Have you looked at
6? No,
they had a ton, although I definitely stopped taking notes when the twos came out. So
the fact that you're asking us makes me think it's more than 6, but I'm going to stick with my answer.
13 for 105.
Wow.
Yeah. No, the operational stuff is still not cleaned up, which the whole idea when we were going into this game going, ooh, what if Carson Wentz plays well enough to make this a question, was that the offense is going to work better if you can get guys lined up. And they broke the huddle on time, and I think that made a really big impact. It was different this time. They were breaking the huddle at 18 seconds. They had time to do the motions, and it was also a lot simpler, which, of course, he's been here for 3 weeks, and the simpler offense moved better. I hope that lesson has been learned in a good way. But they did still have snap count issues. They still had, not getting lined up properly on that throwback thing. They still had those organizational issues, which is both concerning and relieving that it wasn't just 100% JJ McCarthy doesn't know the play calls, can't get it in the huddle. No, they are still a disorganized offense. It just so happened that the turnovers in the game script and things that were happening that were kind of outside the offense's purview were making this a really forgiving game.
Yeah, well said. Quick break. Final segment coming up when we come back, talking about biggest adjustments that need to be made before they go over the pond. They take on the Steelers. Plus, we're getting Jordan Addison back. What that's going to look like. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by FanDuel. NFL season, it's here. And guess what? FanDuel is making sure you're ready with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, you bet just $5. If your bet wins, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Why I love FanDuel. They got everything. Player props, a same-game parlay, jumping in live as the action unfolds. My favorite. You name it, they got it. It's so quick. It's so easy. And the best way to add a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more fun to your Sundays. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. That's FanDuel.com. You're getting $300 in bonus bets guaranteed when your first $5 bet wins. By the way, full deep dive from this one on the Viking Squad Show with our guy Arif Hassan. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. Keep up with all the actions. New episodes every Monday, every Thursday. Plus, you always got Ron on the Ron Johnson Show talking Vikes. That's every Tuesday. What we'll be talking about tomorrow. What is the number one A topic? It's so easy. We come on here. It's all knee-jerk reaction. We haven't watched the tape. Not saying we'll have watched the tape by tomorrow, but it's very fresh. It's very raw. The emotions are running high. Tomorrow morning, once the dust settles a little bit, we look at the box score, et cetera, et cetera. What's the A topic? What's the thing that is going to be the big talking point around this Vikings team 3 games now into the season?
I think we gotta emphasize the stretch that Rodgers had in 4 drives.
Yeah.
He had
iconic
pick 6. He had a sweet pass breakup on Higgins That was him.
But against one of the best
Yeah.
jump ball, 50-50 jump ball dudes in the game, by the way.
Fingertip. That was awesome. And you're
That
going,
was-
oh, great, cool. Good to see Isaiah Rodgers. How little we knew.
You're right.
Peanut punch, scoop and score, touchdown, flips the game on its head. Peanut punch, fumble again.
Jamar Chase.
On Jamar Chase, generates another turnover. I mean, again, if you missed it earlier, no Vikings ever scored 2 defensive touchdowns in a game. Adi Cole in the preseason.
Asterisk.
Adi Cole.
Shannon Sullivan.
Shannon Sullivan should have.
Asterisk.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's history, but set all kinds of NFL history in the process by, having 2 forced fumbles and 2 touchdowns in the game in one half. I mean, the fact that he did it in a game, let alone a half, is unbelievable. So we're like, when we think back on this, we're reminiscing about like in 2037, talking about the Vikings-Bengals game coming up. We'll say, hey, remember in 25, Isaiah Rodgers, and you'll say, yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
God,
And
remember
then
that one game? Yeah, we'll talk
I remember
about it. Like
Brian Williams. You remember
the
the cornerback Brian Williams? He was on the Corey Chavis, Brian Russell.
Oh yeah,
era.
the like 8 interception.
He had
for
a
2 different guys
3-interception
season.
game, I want to say. Didn't score touchdowns, but he had a 3-interception game. That was the one thing that kind of came to mind as they were rattling off all those records and whatnot. That was
Sam, I got one for you. As a PFF enjoyer, Isaiah Rodgers' grade will be as high as any, or higher than any grade PFF has ever given out. He will get a 99.9. They've never done that before.
That's incredible.
That's iconic, dude. That's iconic. Does he like the Madden chain, the Madden 99 chain?
You got to get
like a PFF
you got to get a
99
Madden
chain?
boost, like a special Ultimate Team card or something come out.
Hey,
after this
can I
one.
just bring up one more guy we have not mentioned? I was so deathly worried, maybe not versus the Bengals because their defense is atrocious, but Michael Juergens, I don't think he had one penalty, I know for sure, but I don't think they called his name much and that's a good thing.
Had
for
a
for the
bad
offensive
snap.
line.
He had a bad a bad zone block a couple times, but some of those mid zones where like they hit that B gap, he has to do a lot of reaching. I actually kind of do think we're going to see a really nice game. We saw it in the preseason. He kind of cooked in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was wrong on him. I was just very worried. The drop off right from Ryan Kelly to Michael Juergens, a guy who's never played an NFL game at that point yesterday, or I should say last week when Kelly went out, had me awfully worried. Again, Bengals defense, maybe not the litmus test you really want to grade him on, but we'll see next week for sure. So far, good signs to come for sure. Quick snapshot to week 4 now. Across the pond, Ireland game. Aaron Rodgers again in Europe. You got it's not a surprise for me by any means because I knew it all along, right? But now that we're in the thick of it, it is wild how many non-noon games we've got these first 5 games. 4 out of 5 non-noon.
4 Island games out of 5. We thought it was going to be
crazy.
JJ McCarthy laid bare, but now it's like weird Carson Wentz stuff.
I had something occur to me as well. From week 1 to week 8, that is the stretch where you don't play a true road game. You don't play a true road game between week 1 and week 8, which is insane. I love morning football. Absolutely love morning football. Can't wait to wake up next Sunday morning and watch. Steelers win. They I would say sneak by the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers was not good, but they took the ball away 5 times.
And 2 at the goal line, too.
Fumbled 4 times.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings, and I can check FanDuel for the early line, I would guess the Vikings get the nod in this game by 1.5 or so.
Even as the road team? Wow.
Well,
Neutral.
it's not a it's not a
neutral
neutral
site.
site.
That was a joke, guys.
Right.
Come on. That was a joke.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
You
All
bit. You
You will get renegade in the fourth quarter, though. That'll happen. I wonder if that still energizes the Steelers like it did a couple years ago.
Jordan Addison should be back. By the way, my favorite funny stat, Jordan Addison won't play football in America until week 7. Jordan Addison coming back. Hawkinson, finally, I knew, and we can get into our bets just very quickly at the very end here in a couple minutes, but I put a lot of money, big bet on Hawkinson to go over 40 yards. I just felt like Darrisaw's back. He don't have to stay in nearly as much and chip. It wasn't a light the world on fire. It wasn't the Josh Dobbs Saints game, 8 catches for 100 yards at halftime, but just to see Hawkinson is alive and well. And then you get Addison on, back on top of that. How we feeling next week, or any, intriguing matchups just very early that you're already thinking about?
I'm super intrigued to see what Aaron Rodgers does with another crack at the Flores defense.
Yeah,
that really bamboozled him last time. And I know he's on a different team, different coordinators, different plans, different weapons and everything like that. But at the end of the day, an Aaron Rodgers offense is always going to be an Aaron Rodgers offense. You get that guy in the building, you run things a certain way. I wonder if there's going to be something different from him the second time around, or if all this blitzing and all this multiplicity and running around and pressure, if the Steelers O-line struggles, will it just kind of go down the same way as last time where he kind of just couldn't get up and moving until later in the game.
If there's a Van Ginkel anytime touchdown that's better than 10-1 odds, I'm
sure there'll be a bold prediction.
We
got another bold prediction hit this time, by the way.
Oh, what do we
Somebody predicted that Jefferson and Naylor would outscore or would outproduce Chase and Higgins, and it happened in a blowout.
Wow. Oh, that's a solid bold prediction. Props to whoever flung that one out. Sam, any early thoughts? Just again, the way this one unfolded now, what a great bounce back after that terrible Falcons game. Early thoughts just heading into the Pittsburgh game in Ireland.
Yeah, they're going to be a little more disciplined than the team the Vikings just encountered. You can't get too high or too low, right? After you talked about it, Luke, the polar opposites. As bad as you can play, as good as you can play. 7 days apart. So it's a fresh week. It's a new week. I think Rodgers has a lot more in the way of supporting cast than he did last year with the Jets. And again, this is going to be another, is Carson Wentz going to play mistake-free football? Is he going to be accurate with the football? Like, these are all, questions that we're going to have every Carson Wentz start. I think he's probably going to play both games in Europe. Pittsburgh took the ball away 5 times today, so you got to protect the football. If you play mistake-free, I think you can win. I think you will win.
Final parting thoughts here. Well, we got a couple minutes left here, but I just want to touch on the NFC North, the Packers. To your point here, Sam, any given week in the NFL, the Packers lose to the Cleveland Browns on a last-second field goal. I want to say Browns now 1-2, but more importantly, the NFC North shaping up like this. Packers 2-1, Vikings 2-1. Lions play the Ravens. Is that tomorrow night? No, that's tonight. Sunday Night Football?
No, it's Monday night.
Oh, it is Monday night. Okay, we got Chiefs-Giants tonight. So Lions play the Ravens. That's a tough matchup, obviously, for Detroit. And then the Bears currently up on the Cowboys right now, but a long ways to go for sure, early second quarter. Just early thoughts and just how much, I guess, kind of your prognosis has changed about the NFC North. Last week, nobody could touch the Packers. They were going to the Super Bowl. Micah Parsons, best trade ever. Jordan Love is great. And now all of a sudden, Vikings are sitting here tied with the Packers. How you guys feeling?
It's what the league is. It's a week-to-week league, right? You feel a lot different coming off of that fourth quarter in Chicago, and you're on top of the world, and then you get punched in the gut, and now you're feeling good again. And I think we very often go a little bit too far. I saw people saying after that Packers win against the Commanders, oh my God, they're not going to lose till November. They're going to start 10-0. You're parlaying 8 games, man. There's a reason it's hard to do that. Sometimes you show up and you have a stinker. And what this proves for me is that Jordan Love and that offense is still capable of laying an egg. That's what they needed to not see. They needed to see consistency, a floor where they could, have a B+ day, or have their C- day, but still move the ball and still have somebody show up and win the game. You can't have a day where you score 10 points on the road and lose to a much inferior team just because you didn't bring it that day. But I think the schedule works out for the Packers because they have the Cowboys next, and I have a feeling Micah Parsons is going to show up a little bit for that one. Maybe even overlooked the Browns a little bit. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I would be very appreciative, though, of the Browns. Like, if you look at last year, this
that helps a lot.
Race was so tight because and so competitive because the Lions and Packers just didn't lose dumb games at any point, right? Like, so if cheer very hard for the Ravens today as well. Like, don't write off the Lions by a long shot. You'd like them to bank some losses early in the season before they figure things out, and I do think they will figure things out. They scored 52 last week. That offense can still move the ball. Yeah. So you're a Lamar fan today. Try to build a little bit of cushion. You're back on even footing with the Packers. Life is good. You get to go to Ireland feeling good. These are 2 important games for the Vikings because we know what awaits them out of the bye. People are already rattling it off. Ravens, Lions, Chargers, Eagles in week 7. So that's a gauntlet. That's an absolute gauntlet that you face out of the bye. You want to be 4-1.
Michael Penix benched. Not that he was the one who had like this great game last week or anything, but looked like he was taking some baby steps. They got blown out by division rival Panthers today. Again, just another testament to a week-to-week league for sure. Who is the Packers guy on offense that like scares you in that passing game? Is it Tucker Kraft? Like that Jaden Reed went down, and now just thinking about the Packers. And again, their defense is fantastic now with Parsons, and they do some good things, but they just don't have that guy that like scares anybody. I feel like when you're game planning for that passing game.
As a Matthew Colton fantasy owner, he's gonna have one. He's gonna get a big one of these days.
Sure.
But I think it's more like the Packers really like to spread it out. I think that the nightmare of that game is one where they complete a pass to 13 different receivers and hang 35 on you.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That makes sense. Final parting thoughts. Last 30 seconds each. Unload the clip, Sam. Before we get out of here, what do you got?
Vikings 7-0 all time at home against Cincinnati.
Very important to get a get right game. Even though you can write it off and say, well, it was just a backup or Cincinnati's out of sorts or whatever. Don't care. Get a get right game. Get your stuff together and go across the pond with a little bit of confidence, and let's see if they can rattle off a couple more.
Also, how about Max Brosmer debuts? Sorry, Luke. Brosmer debuts. First play, his running back fumbles. Next two plays, his receivers drop the ball. Fumble, drop. That's how Brosmer. It's
a week-to-week league. It's a drive-to-drive league, as Max learned today.
Great time to get him out there because nobody was looking anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the most points scored by the Vikings since when? Over a decade.
I remember they hung 50 on someone in 98, but
that was
the Jaguars. Yeah, 50
Jaguars.
burger.
Yep.
And I don't know if they have one since. That's a good call out.
Yeah,
very close. They should have kicked on the final fourth down of the game instead of passing to Scott.
Okay,
that was so. What are you doing? Why would you do that? They're going to be pissed about that when you play him again in 2 years.
Fun to have a game where we can joke about these little nonchalant things at the end, isn't it? Final score versus the Bengals, 48-10, pure domination. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys come in the chat with us from game to game as well. Check out Ron, by the way, on the Ron Johnson Show. That's each and every Tuesday right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Luke always crushing it over on Locked On Vikings with all the daily content. Go check out him. New episode Squad Show every Monday, every Thursday, plus obviously like today, the instant reaction after every Viking game as well. Like and subscribe. So close to 10K. We'll see you back here in a week. Grab some coffee. Vikes Steelers in Ireland, 8:30 a.m. kickoff. Until then, though, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.